Okay, so the next chief I'm going to show you is the one you use your fire team for. Azilas. Challenge. Let's go. Fire, 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 fire. Fire chief. Equipment plan. Use. Okay, so here's how I've got everyone positioned on mine. And the reason why I've got them positioned specifically like this is because I'm using Elminster, and I need to make sure that they are all, that the tank is covered by his shield. So the positioning will depend on the healer that you've got on the team, or whoever you've got providing a shield to ensure that they are covering the tank. But as long as you have your tank at the front, and then you can either have the rest of them in a back line at the back, or you can have them positioned behind the tank. Either way, I've found as long as they are behind the tank, no one else on your team will take damage apart from the tank, because the tank will run up to the front, as long as the healer or healer and or shielder can also, their range will also cover the tank. As long as they're behind them, that's fine. They will not take damage until after the tank has died. So you want your tank up front. I am using a necrotic tank because my fire tanks just aren't quite as strong as her, and my fire team were the strongest team, so I wanted to get the highest score that I could on my fire team. I can never remember what her name is. Kessitia? She's one of the legendary tanks I have, and if you have her, use her in this, but if not, do not worry. She's just got a really cool skill where she does some self-healing, and she also does attack penalty too, which is really helpful in this fight. So if you can get a tank at the front that does self-healing a little bit, and applies attack penalty too, that is very helpful. Other tanks, if you don't have any legendaries, other tanks that could be good in this are Isolde or Horus. I actually use Horus on my necrotic team, but either of them would work really well. And then you need someone who will provide a really good shield. If you have Elminster and he's leveled up, I would recommend that you use him for this fight, because he does attack penalty too as well, so also does the attack down, but his shield is done on his battle skill, so he shields more regularly. He shields a lot, and if you can get at least a bit of skill haste on him, he will shield more frequently, and make sure that he has a lot of enlightenment on him, and he would also need accuracy. That's for Elminster. I've got the book on him, but if you don't have the book, the crown would be like the tiara thingy mabob. So if you don't have that one, this tiara is also really good because this adds enlightenment and also grants extra shield. But if you have Elminster's book, obviously use that. And I've got the 3-piece healing set, so there's a bit of extra healing. Go on and make sure that if you have Elminster, he has enough accuracy to land the attack penalty and the other debuffs he has. I have timed my tank because she does attack penalty and he does attack penalty on their ultimates. I have just timed them opposite each other, so the attack down is debuff is on the boss as often as much as it can be. I am also using Liko for this. She is wearing she does the buff prohibition, which stops the boss from getting extra buffs and doing extra damage. She's wearing the Witch's Remains, or you could have her wearing the Crown of the Unclean, and she's my support person, so she's got the Cyril set. so that she'll give a damage buff to my damage dealers. She also does a little bit of healing. Where does she use? So she can dispel buffs. Where does she do healing? I'm sure she does some. Yeah, her battle skill does a bit of healing, so she will heal the tank that's at the front on her battle skill. You want to make sure that she is stacked with HP and attack, and she will need accuracy so that she can land the debuffs for the crown or the witch's remains and the buff prohibition. If you don't have her, look for another hero that can be your support person. So hopefully do a little bit of healing, does buff prohibition or buff stripping. Vera could be a good choice for that. Where's Vera? There's the fiery one that looks like this. This is Vera. She can be good for that. If you don't have... who else would be good for that? I'm unsure, but you can have a look on your filters and see which heroes you've got leveled up that do like buff stripping, buff prohibition, healing, and need high accuracy, and you can use them as your support person. If you don't have Elminster, don't have any scrolls in, or he's not leveled up, Adolphus is a great other choice because he does some healing and shielding as well. So he could be a good alternate. And I've got 2 wilds here. I have Flora. You need to build Flora with attack and for derivative damage as well, because a lot of her damage is derivative. So she has the 3-piece set on, which is this one. So the 3-piece set, the derivative damage ignores 20% of the enemy's defense. She's got a lot of enlightenment on her. She has 301 enlightenment. I have put the eyeball on her. You could put on the ink vial because that increases the derivative damage. But I tested both, and she does more damage with the eyeball on her because she's actually got a fairly decent crit rate and crit damage. So with the eyeball, you use the crit will be applicable, but if you put on the vial ink set, the attacks can't trigger critical hits. So depending on kind of what your crit rate and crit damage is like, sometimes it's better to use the eyeball with her, sometimes it's better to use the ink vial. So maybe test both. I would go for wild, having 2 wild damage dealers with your fire boss, because they seem to do a great amount of damage. Whichever ones you've got, I've got Erich fully scrolled, so he does a really, really good amount of damage, and I have him with the... I actually found that for this, because I wanted to get his crit rate and his crit damage up, I actually got better stats putting on 2 pieces of the Inventor set and the Gambler set. For some people, it depends on the stats on your gear and what gear you have. You might be better off with a 3-piece Gamblers or a 3-piece Inventor set. Completely depends on your stats. He doesn't need accuracy. He doesn't need... None of the ones at the back need any defense. You don't need to build them for defense. They just need attack, crit rate, and crit damage. And if you don't have Flora, because she's a legendary, just got really lucky, you can use other wilds. Folly is good. She's really good. She adds on 24% crit damage to everyone in battle, so she could be a good option. Whatever you do, though, don't pair Folly with Alfie. I've also got Alfie. They don't work together because you kind of need someone who initiates the wild initially. Otherwise, they won't go wild, like a kind of a frost enabler. You need a wild enabler. So don't put them 2 together because they will not work. But Neda is good. She's a good rare. I've not leveled her up this season, but I did use her a lot. So if you've only got like epics and rares, he is really good Bronwyn, and Neda is really good wild as well. So if you don't have the legendary ones, you can use rare or epic alternatives. Just make sure you check on them and make sure that they actually team up and work well together. And I'll just show you my timers. So I don't have my Spider Lady and Elminster fully scrolled. But what I've done is I've just kind of timed them opposite each other. And they'll go off roughly around 22.5 seconds because the ultimate is 22.4. So they'll just go opposite each other to try and keep the attack penalty 2 on the boss as much as possible. They're the only timers I have set. So let's go and see how this runs. I have just upgraded my psychical as well. So I've put more into my fire and necrotic on my psychical since yesterday. So I am hoping that this really makes a difference. Go. Okay, not helpful, Elminster. You didn't put the attack penalty on the chief, only on his summons. Aliko is a right pyromaniac. She just shouts, burn, burn, and giggles. I think it's hilarious. Oh, sorry, I've still got sniffles and a cold. The thing that I found as well, which is like really helpful with your support person, if you've got the Witch's Remains, a legendary artifact, they can actually put the debuff on multiple targets. I've used it in like Arena and Goblins and stuff, and it will actually put the debuff down on multiple targets. Not all the time, but there's more chance of it happening, it seems. Whereas if you've got the Crown of the Unclean, they can only see applied the debuff to the chief and both the summons. Then if you've got the Crown of the Unclean, it will only apply the defense penalty debuff to one target. So this has been like a game changer. If you can only get one legendary artifact, then go for the Witch's Remains. I had a very tough choice trying to pick which one I wanted, and I made the right choice, I think. Of course, it's very hard to pull a legendary in the first place, let alone a duplicate legendary. So I am aware that most people won't have the opportunity to have done that. Hopefully this gets quite high. I think I got about 24 million yesterday on this run, and I have upgraded my psychical, so it should be much higher today. Go, Spider Lady! See, Elminster's shield is great because he does it on his battle scale. If you have the right amount of haste, most of the time the tank will be shielded when the boss attacks. Oh, but not that time. Out of sync, Elminster. Get back into sync. Of course, your scores will be totally kind of dependent on what you've upgraded on your psychic core and what gear you have, and there are other factors involved. But as long as you can get over like 7 million or over on the damage, that's a really great score. Come on, a bit higher, please.
Everything belongs to me.
Again, if you're not happy with your scores, you can always hit redeploy and just rerun it, because I do find that sometimes they get much higher just by hitting redeploy, just because of the luck and the RNG as to whether or not it triggers critical hits and whether or not they land the debuffs. Oh, we're still going. Yay! I've hit 24 million. How much? Oh no, she's dead now, so the rest of the team are all going to start dying now. But that is a very respectable score, I think. 25 million. Ah, I was about to time out then as well. Nuts. Okay, that is complete. So that is the fire chief.